good morning and welcome back to the Thursday edition of Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, and Disembodied Hands, Quindy. I decided to give you the spooky voice anyway, Quindy. I know you love it. Along with her servitors of merit, Justin and John. How are you all today? You just like it when I give you a spooky voice. It's so funny. Oh dear, yeah, we're back on Pokey Tool. Pokey Tool. We should make some pretty good progress on Pokey Tool. Since Pokey Tool is so small. 39 months. Ermagerd. Jeez, Nomad Zeke. Racing to the 4-year mark. That's insane. 100% appropriate? Alright. Good. We can be spooky other times of year. It's just, I'll surprise you with it. I'll surprise you with it, Quindy. It'll improve your day. So I had one of those nights last night. Have you guys ever had one of those nights where, like, your dreams, like, run you through the ringer? Where you, like, have so many dreams and they're, like, so, like, stressful that you're just like, arg? That was me last night. I looked at my Fitbit and it said I got 2 hours of REM sleep last night, which is insane. You painted a mini. Good. At least you're painting for the RCL. Good, good, good. Excelente. Sounds good to me. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Last night, yeah. Oof. Okay. So we're working on the blue and purple and things and the black. And I need a little bit more of a reflection. I probably want to add a little bit more black to the top if I want to have some black on this model. So I need to decide how dark I want this model to be, and I may end up going with the blue and purple through the whole thing and then making some judgment calls because we still need to figure out things like eye color and stuff like that. So, Quindy the Radams. My Fitbit said, oh my god, you have a cat, don't you? I remember how it was when I had a cat. Yep, it was a series of getting bitten by poisonous venomous snakes. Mine was driving a car into the ocean and watching orcas float overhead as I was trapped inside the car. Yeah, this is not good. Like, my dreams try to kill me on a regular basis. I don't know what it is, guys. I don't know. But since I was a small child, my dreams have tried to kill me. Oh, yuck. Well, at least you can wake up and know you're not working there anymore, Agent Marvel, and be happy, right? Yay, I'm not working at that horrible place anymore. In a horror film, but I could rewind it to figure out where the bad guy was. That's pretty cool, Kurtiko. I love those dreams. Those cool dreams that let you manipulate them. Those are cool dreams. That's a really neat one. You love this? You're just Quindy LaRue Adams? Okay, well, we can add that to your long list of middle names, maybe, you know. Quindy Adams LaRue. Like, we can just keep on, like, Queen Quindy Adams LaRue. Alrighty. I think our brains are just trying to make us, like, look at our actual lives and go, look how good you have it! You know? Sometimes I think that is the case. Alright, Dragon Black. Oh, and I need to put the black pearl away. Oh, black pearl is actually pretty purpley. Interesting. Apparently, Shadow Raven, that is the case. I regularly, when I was a child, would have my entire neighborhood is trying to kill me dreams. Like, they were zombies or they were possessed by aliens or, you know, you name it. Pretty scary when an 8-year-old kid is having those dreams. All right. All right, Imperial Purple is what we were using because we were doing some blue highlights with our Tropical Blue and our Ice Devil Blue. It's a hard call for me if I had to recommend one Pathfinder blue, if it would be Ice Devil or Akata. Like, I like both of them so much. They're the Pathfinder blues I lean toward. Maybe I should do a little PDF. Actually, that's a great idea. Why don't I do a PDF of my favorite Pathfinder colors? Ah, hold on. I need sticky note, and my sticky notes are fighting. Silly sticky notes. Dolphins, but I know that they're not dolphins, but evil things, pretending to be them to lure people. Wow. Interesting. Why don't I do a PDF on my favorite Pathfinder colors for next month? That would be fun. And that way you guys can have a short list of the Pathfinder colors that I really like and find really useful. Yep, Patreon Pathfinder PDF. You got it. That'd be it. Pop that over there so I can keep it for later. It's always good to get ideas. Like, I really like to have ideas in advance of stuff I'm excited to work on for the Patreon, you know? Especially having done it for over 3 years now. Like, I'm honestly, like, stunned that I can still come up with things to talk about that I'm excited about. But maybe that's just because I'm super excited about painting, and that's been the case for years and years. So I shouldn't be surprised, I suppose. Clavicus, thank you. 31 months. Excellent. Working on your 3-year sub-anniversary. I'm going to get my tropical blue and my ice devil blue all in the little doo-doo. There we go. So nice little succession of colors. Now we're going to thin them according to their level of lightness. And again, I forgot to get, you know what? I'm going to go get a bottle of water because I'm so low on this bottle of water. 1 second. I have it right in the other room. Alrighty. We're going to do the black 2-to-1, the purple 4-to-1, the blue 2-to-1, and the ice devil blue 1-to-1. And what that reflects is their translucency, which is usually very strongly linked to their level of their shade, their level of light and dark. The black, I know, is high coverage. That's the exception. Reaper's Pure Black is very high coverage black. And that's just the high density black pigment is so very strong. But the purple definitely has translucency to it. So if I'm going to utilize it and have it show up against the black, I need to keep it rather thick, but I still need a little bit of water in it. So we'll start at a 4-to-1 for that, which normally would be a base coat level. But with translucent darker colors for base coat, I often go 5 or 6-to-1. This is one of those paints that I would definitely go 5 or 6-to-1 if I was base coating with it. That's Imperial Purple again, 9023. But the fact that it does go translucent pretty fast means that it is useful for highlighting when you start with a really dark purple. And then we've got our standard 2-to-1 for our middle range color tropical blue. And then Ice Devil has a lot of white in it, so that's why we're doing a 1-to-1 to start with, because we really don't want real strong color here. We want touches. There we are. Alrighty, so that's our colors, and I haven't decided what color eyes, guys. Yellow, red, magenta. Yellow, red, magenta, or orange, guys. Eyes, eye color. That's funny, Cornico. Magenta. All right, magenta it is. Too many magenta voices there to ignore. Luckily, we have the power of magenta. We will dedicate this use of magenta to Kathy Waffle. If you haven't, consider helping out and getting either her tribute mini from Dark Sword, or I hear James has a link on his stream to contribute toward her health issues. Alrighty. Excellent. I'm going to actually get some pure white down here too, because I may want it. I will want it to highlight this eyeball. And I want it to block in the other eye so I can get my magenta done with. Since we've only done the one side of the face, but I'm planning to duplicate this on the other side. I really like how it looks really good straight on, see? Like, I still need some touch-ups and things, but it's looking pretty good. Alright, pure white. And again, 2-to-1 on the pure white. If you're using it as a basic highlighter, start out there. Yes, thank you, Quindy, for the shout out. I'm just going to put 1 drop of water in to thin the clear magenta, as it is a clear, and it's a very clear. I might also have used it straight up, but I think I'll use it slightly thinned and just add a couple of layers of it. Clear magenta is one of those clears that you absolutely can use just straight up over white, because it has the magenta pigment, quinacridone magenta, is just such a very transparent pigment. All the quinacridones are like that. The other pigment that you will sometimes run into is a quina red, although it's rare because most miniatures companies won't use quina red because of its transparency, because most of them are going for coverage. However, you can get Quina Red as part of the Scale 75 Artist Tube series. The Crimson is a quinacridone red, as you can see right there. And what it is a very cold red. So essentially what this tells you is that quinacridone as a pigment range in general is a very cold. It's not orangey. This is not an orangey red at all. It's definitely on the cooler side, more like a carmine. Out of stock in the UK? Oh, okay. Yeah, who knows with shipping these days, right? That's cool that it's sold out in the UK, though. Like, I hope they get more. Like, it's good that they sold a lot. Oh, I missed a little bit. There's a little bit of unprimed spot right there. Or unpainted spot. Gotta get that taken care of first. There, and I'm going to spread that out a little bit so it dries faster. If you want your paint to dry faster, spread it out. Don't leave pools. If you leave pools, it'll take a while. But especially if it's slightly thinned with water, it will dry very, very quickly if you just spread it out. So 2-to-1, probably a little weak for the eye. In reality, I'll just grab a pure white, just a solid drop, and paint that on. Unfortunately, my bottle of white is very low. I really need to order paint from Reaper today. I have a full bottle, or almost full bottle of pure white in the other room, but only having 1 bottle of pure white, I mean, it gets you kind of, like, nervous. I don't know about you guys. It makes me nervous. I need to just order a dozen. Then I'll probably lose the box of them. Knowing me. So we're painting the white over here because it will make the magenta very bright, and also because you're never going to get quinacridone magenta to cover over black. Not ever. I don't care how many layers you put up, it's always going to look dark. Here, got our eyes. Quindy. Alrighty. Yes, you are totally perfect, Wendy. I cannot imagine a more perfect mod for this show. Alright, so since we're using thinned paint, our paint dries right away, so we can immediately put another coat over the top, and this time we're going to be putting magenta. I'm playing my my Dragonborn in WoW. I forgot to take a picture of her again. Dang, I really like the color scheme. I would paint a dragon this color. That's why I keep wanting to take a picture of her. But it's cool. You can fly in a way. You can launch yourself into the air, and then you can get really speedy if you like aim toward the ground. It's kind of fun. Alright. Now, because this is such a clear color, it's going to look a little uneven on first coat. So you definitely want to put down 2 coats. Compared to Luca, Wendy. Although mostly you're not modding Luca's audience. I suspect you're just modding Luca. Alrighty. That Luca. Yes, exactly. So now that it's dry, since it is very thin, it'll dry very fast. I put my second coat over it. And another one on this side. And I think for a shadow dragon, I'm just going to make the eyes kind of glowy. So that means I'm going to use a bit of white in my magenta. Probably mix up a whole new puddle off to the side here. So new puddle, just taking brushfuls, put them over there. Take a little bit of white in. Even a little bit of white is going to change the magenta pretty significantly. So I'm going to start with that. It is. It's falling with style. It's fun anyway. Because usually, you know, and this is a character that starts like at 58, level 58 and 60 is the highest right now. Expansion will put that up to 70, but yeah, it's one of those advanced character classes, so they built the starting area with the intention that you would fly over it. But it is cool. It is cool. Never had a flying character in WoW before. Like, other than being on a mount, right? But this is kind of different because you don't have as much control. In a way, I don't know. It just feels it's power gliding. It's really cool. Feels good. Whatever they decided to do, like the gameplay feels good. But yeah, I need to take a picture of my character. I should put that on my to-do list here. Take photo. Take picture of WoW character to show. I will put it on my to-dos. Because I want it, I really like the patterns on her scales. She's kind of a golden bronze with black smoky patterns on her scales. She's pretty. And it's a color pattern I would totally use on a dragon. And I actually just got a big dragon bust, actually. My Kickstarter finally delivered, the Dracoth's Children one. And I had forgotten that the bust that I ordered it's like a dragon's head and neck, and then it's his companion, which is a humanoid, kind of alien, elfy looking girl next to him. I had forgotten that was 1/10 scale, so the dragon is like this tall, like it's insane. So I need to figure out, and it's supposed to be a gold dragon. Although I would probably make it a lot of other colors. Let's get back in here. So I'm going to essentially create a glow toward the middle of the eye by making it lighter. So some magenta plus white. Now your magenta is pretty light already, being over white. So you'll need to add more white to your magenta to get above that level than you'd think. Yeah, it's a proper bigature. Where did I put them? Maybe I'll go fetch it toward the end of the stream and show you guys. It's pretty cool. It's a big chonky dragon. And his scales are actually less overlapping and more like crocodile scales, so it's really good. I'll have to figure out what color I want to make him. Maybe we'll do something complicated and do like green and gold. Since I don't really care about painting it to their mythology or their backstory. Although the concept art is an NMM gold dragon. Which is actually pretty simple on this dragon because it has really big scales. Maybe I can get a picture. Hold on. Ah, wrong spelling. Yeah. So actually, he's on the banner. The two of them are on the banner. So he has a little bit more horns than that, but you can see his scales are more crocodilian. They're more like big plates or leaves. It's really cool, but it means you can do an NMM on him because he's got big smooth areas of texture instead of trying to do it on a bunch of little scales. If you want to do an NMM dragon, then you want this sort of big flat scales. Let me see if I can find the other. They did a lot more concept art. They didn't have a lot of painted models when I originally ordered. So the other one I ordered was the mermaid. Boop. She got a little bird perching on her. She's really cool. So I ordered her. I did the two big things pledge. There we go. There's the full of the bust. But yeah, he's really cool. He's supposed to be the last gold dragon. Yeah, he's really, and you can see how they did the NMM. It's really pretty. Really, really pretty. But yeah, so I'm gonna figure out, but he's like big. He's as tall as my cell phone. Easy. So big project. Yeah, they make it great. Like, I love, this is cool, and I haven't seen it before. I'm sure there's somebody else who's done it, but I really like that whole two models as a bust, right? It's a vignette bust. It's really kind of cool, and I almost wish more companies would do it. Because they fit together. She's got her hand up on his side, and there's a little place for her fingers kind of like rest, and then her other hands either hold the reins for him or hold a flower, I think. All right, there's spooky shadow dragon eyes with little pinpoints of light in them. I'll actually get a little bit. I was a little inexact here, so. And as usual, even though I'm not doing, essentially I'm doing white pupils, right? Except I'm kind of blending them in. So yeah, you want them glowy. Glowy. Oh yeah, overcommit. Yeah, I'm familiar with the overcommitting. I'm listening to a book about burnout right now, and pretty much the author is shouting in your face, "Do not overcommit. Be realistic about your plate size." And I needed to be yelled at about that also for Nico. So I am... yeah, I usually just pledge and put it out of my mind, and then it's like Christmas when I get my rewards, Quindy. That one took a long time. They had a lot of supply issues. I think I ordered it beginning of last year. But I got it, so I'm happy. It wasn't like I didn't have a lot of stuff to paint, so it's not like I was like waiting on needing more stuff to paint or anything. God knows I've got enough of that. Kind of stopped doing Kickstarters for a while. Though I did do the Brandon Sanderson one just because it was I knew I wasn't going to want to pay full price for those statues, so I decided to put the money in when it was a really good deal instead of waiting and having to pay more if I wanted them. That can get me. Sometimes that will get me to going on a Kickstarter, even though, as mentioned, I do not need more models to paint. I certainly have enough at this point to get through. But there we go. Oh, yeah. I still need to look and see if there's a model for that I could paint for my brother that isn't too that would fit, right? Looking for a model that would fit. Because if I'm going to paint something for them, it's going to take a while. Probably want a bust. Buster 75. So I definitely should probably handpick, since we were talking yesterday about painting stuff for people for Christmas. I probably should try to actually find a model that I think they would like. Pete wouldn't care. Pete would love to own, I'm sure, anything that I would do, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten better about that. Because of the writing, I've had to get better about writing all the time and not waiting. It helps that I enjoy writing. But getting into the habit has really helped that for me, building a writing or a painting habit. Because if you're in the habit of painting every day, you're going to get stuff done. It's just natural. It's just like me on this show. Like, this is actually the thing that taught me this, like, for well and for good, guys, is this show. Like, all the stuff I get done on this show over the course of the year, if I did an equal hour and a half every evening as part of a painting habit, then I would get a crap ton done every year. And that's why David gets stuff done. He sits down every night, unless he's like really into computer games. He does lose a month here and there. But he sits down, every night that he's not gaming, and he's painting. So he gets, a couple things done for competition every year. Yeah. Yeah, Christmas themed minis are, I'm sure, a cool thing, but the subject matter, I don't know. And I'd want them to be able to have it like out all year. Like, I wouldn't want them to feel like they could only have it out for the holidays if they wanted to display it. Build up to that purple there. Get this center part going. Oh, my cork has given way. That's all right. I just don't want to stab myself with the Pokey tool. Pokey tool is cool and all until you stab yourself. All right, I'm going to back up. Yeah, I just want to find like a pretty, probably something pretty or cool or noble, you know, like a knight or a sorceress that's not showing too much skin, you know, or something cute. I know I've got minis that might work. I just need to go and look through my stuff. I'm going to get a bit more purple on the center here. Over optimist, yeah. Yeah. This year I'm going to actually send Christmas cards out. Like, I got some nice little stamps and I'm like excited. Plus we have a new address, you know, so it'd be good to send the Christmas cards out so that people update. I don't have too many family members that I send to. I do have friends that I send Christmas cards to, though. Yeah, I was always an over optimist too. It's a common human thing. You always think you can get more done than you can. Like there's just some people don't have this issue, but apparently there is a definite subclass of humans who have the expectation of getting more things done than they actually can physically do. And for most of us, we just kind of throw our hands up in the air afterwards and go, "Oh well." But for some of us, it really bothers us. Some really driven people. So it's a battle. It's been a battle my whole life to figure out how much can I actually do instead of how much do I think I can do, right? I've always overestimated. Just like you say, I've always thought I could get a lot more done than I actually can get done. And after a while, it got really disappointing to me, so I stopped making commitments in some parts of my life, which is not the answer either, but just putting a bright line down the middle here. I will put some more pure white highlights on as well to really shiny things up, but I'm not there yet on the dragon. I am happily, at least now I am one of those people who understands that if I want to get more stuff done, I have to give up other things. Right? Like I can get things done. I can pull a superhuman effort, but I understand now, as I didn't when I was younger, that to do that I have to cancel other things. I have to not do other things I like to do in order to get the other thing done. I bet, Kerniko. But it's a cool record of your painting. You can see how much you've improved. All right, so we've got our dragon coming along here. I'm going to get that purple and glaze it a little bit more with these top scales because they got a little bit too much. There we go. He's really shiny. You can see that he's shiny. Ha, that's funny. Take some of the pressure off of yourself if you're battling motivation issues. Although I did do an entire PDF on this, so if you're on my Patreon, you might look at the earlier PDF, the Why Aren't You Painting PDF. I did one on fear and expectations and motivation and all that stuff. But I mean, the best thing you can do is to let the pressure off. If you don't feel like painting, don't force yourself to do it. Take a little break. Maybe put a little reminder on your calendar to kind of check in a month and see if you feel like painting yet. But sometimes you need to take a break. Like, especially if you've been painting a lot, kind of figure it out though, because one thing you can run into is that you've got pressure on you, like a deadline or something you feel like you need to do, and it's killing your painting urge. So if it's that, probably you don't need a month off. Probably you just need to forgive yourself and say, I'm not going to get this done. Or if I get it done, I'm not going to get it done for a while, right? So there can be several reasons why you might feel like not painting. And it seldom is because, and this depends though. I mean, everybody's an individual, right? And the more I study like psychological, like strengths-based like analysis, the more I realize everybody really is a unique individual, and your motivation, although people can give you general advice, you are your own beast as far as your brain goes, and you probably have some idiosyncrasies that are entirely based on just the type of person you are. And those are things that nobody can really coach you through without knowing you a lot better. But try to dig down to the bottom and figure out some common causes of feeling like you just don't want to paint. 1, you overcommitted. Your plate is too full, you're exhausted, and you just don't want to look at a miniature. Solution, let up on yourself. Tell people, even though it disappoints them, that you're not going to be able to finish that miniature in the time frame. It just isn't going to work for you. 2, you really have run out of oomph on a big model and you're just not feeling the love anymore. This is fair. You can put it aside for a while. If you want to, you can put it aside in some place you can see it so that you can think about going back to it here and there. That's what David does. And he often does go back to the model. Eventually. Ah. Cool. Cool, Turgeon. Sometimes we stop painting out of fear. If we're working on a project and it's getting close to the end, we just don't feel like painting on it anymore. And it's not that we are bored with it. It's actually that maybe we aren't afraid that we're not living up to what we could have done, or we don't, we think we could have done better if we gave ourselves more time, or we see parts of it that we're not happy with, or we think that other people won't be happy with, or, there's all that sort of thing. Sometimes people's expectations can get onto you. So if you regularly post on Instagram or Discord or wherever, post your work, but you're starting to kind of dread doing that, and that affects your painting, you just don't want to finish something, just take a break. Social pressure is a thing for some people, especially if you're an introvert. Even digital social pressure can be a thing. Our own expectations can also, if we're disappointed because we didn't finish a figure to, in the right, quote unquote, right time frame, if we're just disappointed with the job we're doing on it, sometimes you have to set your own expectations aside and just paint. Yeah, afraid to mess it up. That's a big one, Pendrake. That's always, that's the one that hits right near the end often for people. They're afraid to mess it up, or afraid that now that it's done, they didn't do as good a job on it, or other people are going to judge them. Or it depends on how social a painter you are, right? If you're a very social painter and you share everything on social media and you're always sharing your models with your friends and everything like that, social expectations and pressure can get to be a thing for you. Because really, how defined mess it up? There's expectations there that are going to define mess it up, right? They're either yours or they're somebody else's. Because if you're just painting it to paint it, you really can't mess it up. You just paint it and you move on. And if you can manage to talk your brain around to that level, then you can get past that. And sometimes the answer is honestly just to do it, finish it to whatever you can do and move on. Because if part of it really bothers you, there may be a point in the future where you look at it and you see how to fix it and you fix it, right? Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, that's a little extreme, Twistedoma, but and I don't think I would really want to be coached my fear of flights or fear of heights enough that I would do that. I mean, let's face it, tall places are trying to kill you, all things considered. But a lot of people's fear of success or failure actually comes with, you know, their own expectations of how well they should be able to do or how fast they should be able to do, or and that often is compared on comparison with other people, right? People comparing themselves and saying, well, so and so does it like this, or so and so would do so much of a better job than me, or you know, whatever. When really that doesn't matter. All that matters in your hobby is how well you do. But we have that horrible tendency to compare ourselves to other people. Yeah, Bill, it's okay. So here's the dealio with Be Better. Um, there are people who have a drive to be better, right? That they're part of the enjoyment they get of the hobby is to see themselves increase in proficiency, right? I am one of those people. That's why I focused and taught myself to paint really well fairly young, right? That I enjoy it. I enjoy pushing myself even now. But if you don't have that personality type, it's not wrong. It's counterproductive. You need to just paint to enjoy it and not push yourself to get better. You're naturally going to probably get better. Your brush control will improve. Your knowledge, your gut knowledge of paint consistency will improve, right? And if you ever felt like it, like improving one small thing, you could do it. But don't feel like you have to drive yourself to improve. Not everybody has that drive or needs that drive. Well, as I just said, a lot of people don't need to Shadow Raven. That's one of the things that it took me a while to learn at Paint Club. Because for the first while at Paint Club, everybody who came did want to improve, and that's why they came. But if people aren't like really, if they're not super into improving, if they just want to come and kind of learn to paint, like be careful about pushing. Be careful about pushing. The best question you can ask is first to assess like if there's one technique that they could learn that might improve their model. Like for a lot of beginning painters, after they get real solid with their base coats and stuff, it's lining or shading. The question you want is, are you interested in knowing one thing that, you know, could make you a little better, or no? Are you happy? You know, you ask them that question. If they're happy, they're happy. Sometimes people just want to hear you say that, yeah, you're doing well, you know? Yeah, just show up and be friendly. Pendrake has it in one. That's exactly what you do. Now, what you can say at the start of every paint club is, hey guys, you know, I'm a decent painter, and if you really want to improve, let me know, and then I can work with you a bit, right? And people will come to you then. But even those people will sometimes not really want to improve. Like, people will want to improve until they see the work that it takes. And then they're going to assess in their little gut, like, is this worth it for me? Right? As we all should. And some of those people who originally tell you that they want to improve are going to maybe decide, oh, this is too much work and pressure. I don't want to improve after all. So if you do that, try to make it simple, right? Show them a simple thing they can do to improve their painting. Yeah, exactly. Your best friend is perfectly happy with base coat and wash. They're happy with the way it looks. It lets them get things done really fast, and they're maybe more about completing than they are about the process or the learning, right? And that's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's good. I think I don't like wait. For me, I didn't necessarily wait for people to ask for advice. I would tell them I was available, because the thing you run into if you just wait sometimes is that people are shy and they don't want to bug you. I always got those people coming up, I don't want to bother you, but, you know. But if you tell them, if you just kind of make it general and say, hey guys, you know, I'm just putzing around today. If you want tips and tricks and you want to like get better or learn a new technique, I'm available. You know, and just leave it out there, and then it's up to them. And then they'll think about it a little bit, maybe. But yeah, there are just some people who don't really want to. They just are happy painting. It's their happy, relaxy place, and that's super cool. It's okay. Especially if they're painting like for a D&D game, or they paint board game minis, or, you know, any number of things like that. Or if they're just like painting to paint. You have to be built to really want to tackle that, though, Twisted Oma, too. Like, some people would be able to do it very, or some people are very coachable on that, I bet, and there are some that aren't. Everybody's different. But the techniques will help everybody, but will they help everybody to the extent they help that person? Yeah, well, I find that if you sit and paint at a game store, you will attract like-minded people. You will attract people who want to, especially if you're on a regular schedule. That's really key. Make a schedule and stick to it. Paint Club was every Saturday, noon to 4. People always knew it was on. It was usually on even if I wasn't there because somebody else would come and kind of run it. And then, yeah, just be friendly. Be happy that they're joining the hobby. Make sure that they see that you're like thrilled that they're joining the hobby and excited for them and that you think it's going to be great. And then just, yeah, let them know that you're available for any questions and that you're really happy that they came. That's it. There were a lot of college students who used to come to who never asked for help. What they did do every once in a while is they would come over and ask me what I thought, and I would point out the things I liked on their mini. And if they were like, well, I could maybe do blah better, then I would be like, oh, do you want me to know what I think maybe one thing you could do to make your painting better would be? And then that would be a good entry. But yeah, just kind of use your gut and feel the people and figure out, you know, does this person just need to be reassured and told that they're doing well, right? Because that's its own thing and cool. Yeah, I mean, one thing, if parents come up, you got first of all figure out how young you're willing to teach or how young you're willing to have at the club, Shadow Raven. Like, are you going to allow kids with adult supervision? Figure that out because there will be parents who are kind of like, oh, what's that, blah, you know, and you can point out, well, this is a great hobby for kids because, you know, it's creative and cool. It's not just for artsy kids, but for all kids. But then you are going to get kids, so you have to figure out if you're willing to do that, right? Before somebody asks, so you have a response. And if the response is no, I'm not really, you know, not really sure. I don't really think I would like kids to be here. Then that's cool. Just make sure that you've got an age, or you can say this is for ages, you know, 14 and up or whatever. Yeah, it's cool. But I mean, if they want, I don't. Maybe I misread. Do they want you to run it, or they just want you to come, or what? I guess run it is a loose thing because usually it's just hanging out and painting. If it's a paint club, let me get the little nostrils highlighted here. I think the class, if it's the first ever miniature painting class at a store, they should definitely post it like a couple months in advance. And if you've got somebody there painting on the weekends who's going to be teaching the class, then, you know, that person can talk about the class and talk to people about it if they're interested. And that's more likely to get people to sign up if you're friendly and they interact with you and have a positive experience. We are getting some color on the other side of the dragon. It's slowly creeping over. Slow dragon creep. I see. I see. Do they have somebody experienced, quote unquote, running it? Or are they just going to put out supplies and have at? it does help to have somebody knowledgeable running it. Kind of getting this down, figuring out what I want here. Freehanding a bit of scales on. There. Oh, very clicky. Yeah. It's nice that you have good staff, though. That makes it, like, that really makes a GW store, whether it's going to be a good experience or not good experience, is the quality of the staff and the type, you know, whether you have good people. I think I'm going to add 1 extra drop of this Ice Double Blue to my mixture just to thicken it up just a little. I need a little more coverage, I feel like. Oop. So now it's 5 drops paint, 4 drops water. Yeah, that's the nice thing about having a lot of extra Kickstarter minis that you don't care about, that you're willing to give people for practice minis. And it gets them, you know, into Reaper miniatures, which is always great, right? Not that we have a, you know, an interest in that matter or anything. In order to do a paint club, you have to have somebody interested in painting, right? The game store is never going to think to do a paint club if it doesn't have anybody on staff that's into the hobby. I mean, that's just a simple truth. We wouldn't have had paint club at Reaper if I hadn't always been used to it. At that point, I had spent years starting up a paint club wherever I was. So I always would start a paint club because I always wanted an excuse to make myself paint for 4 hours on the weekend. It helps to motivate me. Yeah, it depends on where you are, Miss Stamp. I never ran into the, I was lucky I never ran into the whole girls shouldn't play this game mentality. For the most part, the guys in our store were like super happy to have a woman around actually interested in the game, but it really does vary. You're right. And then we're back to, you know, like the quality of the employees are going to define the quality of experience. In our GW store in Denton, Brett, the manager, pretty much put up like rules of the store, and the first one was don't be an a-hole. Pretty much if people were sexist or crappy to other people, he would ask them to leave. And that's, you know, that's the kind of environment. You foster it, or you foster a good environment, or you don't. Using my ice double to like bring out some more highlights and area around the eye. Same over here. Hey, Ultra Squid, how's it going? We're painting a dragon-headed Pokey tool with like a shadow dragon. It's coming along. It's coming along. I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna have to seal the heck out of it in order to use it. Alrighty. So now we need to brighten up these purple up here, the purple scales, and this top one here too. I need to decide on a horn color for a shadow dragon. Yeah, you get that every once in a while. Though those people, it's kind of fun. It's kind of nasty, but it's kind of fun to kind of turn them on their heads, Kerniko. The whole, oh, I painted this. Thanks. That guy hasn't run into the sad fact that there are a great many excellent female miniature painters in the world who often beat the pants off of the males. But that's why we need more girls representing a Golden Demon again. For a while there, we had a fairly large contingent. I feel like when I went to GD this past year, there were very few of us. Yep. Oh no, not making excuses, but you're right. It's usually fear-based behavior, right? When you're ridiculing somebody else. That kind of tude. Which is very different from the, hey, do you need help with your painting? Because you're a girl. You know, that kind of thing. There's the helpful, not ideal response, and then there's the unhelpful one. That's kind of the nice thing, by the way, about being at my level. Is like, oh yeah, I paint miniatures. Oh, you do? Do you have pictures? Show picture of sacrifice. Holy shit! Nobody questions after that. It's one of the great pleasures of my life every once in a while, getting one of those guys. I know it's petty, and I'm better than that, but I like it anyway. I like being able to make them kind of go holy bejesus. It's fun. Though whenever I run into that attitude, the other great thing to say is always like raise eyebrows slightly and say, you know that some of the best miniature painters in the world are women, right? Oh, you don't? Let me show you some pictures. Get a little bit more light on top there. But yeah, I mean, it's community, right? Community can either be a great thing or it can be kind of a sad thing when it gets to clickiness, right? Clickishness, where you don't want anybody else in your space. It's like you want community and you don't want clickishness. But humans do kind of like to glom together, so. I'm going to put a little white dot at the edges like I did on the other side. To kind of, again, bring out the shiny in the dragon. Shiny. Just like with any other NMM, you need that little white pinpoint to get the shine going on. Yeah. It's the us and them mentality. I don't know. It's silly, but we seem to be wired to think that way sometimes. It takes an effort to think otherwise. But I think a lot of gamers are much better. I mean, we tend to be very inclusive. And so when we run into a clique like that, we're kind of like, just like, huh? You know, as a society, as a metric, we geeks tend to be pretty open. Uh-oh, I forgot the water. The papa is now going to be annoying. Pardon me while I go rescue the water from the papa. I say I missed my my responsible dog owner role there this morning. I was otherwise really on top of things, but let me go and do that before the little dweeb splashes it everywhere. Yep. Oh, yeah, troll. Total troll, missed him. Well, there you go. Some people don't change, missed him. It's a shame, but you know. You can't change people. You can only change your own reaction to them. Oh, the Keekster just always, when I leave her water bucket attached to her crate in the morning, she'll start playing with it to make it splash. So I have to go and take it up. I was a good aunt and remembered to remove it from her crate yesterday. So she didn't have the opportunity. But today I forgot. I can always hear the clang of the bucket handle when it falls, when she shakes it. So we're going over with our blue, just real light on the lines there, the angles. I gave her an ice cube to keep her busy. I won't keep her busy for long, but hopefully it'll keep her distracted for long enough. And we want to go purple and blue on this side. I would not want to see the Keekster on a skateboard. I think that would be highly hazardous for all in the vicinity. She was a real dingo this morning too, so I'm kind of like not looking forward to how she's going to be the rest of the day. She was a real dingo for David this morning. When he was trying to take her out, get her geared up to take her on her walk. That's funny. I got that when I was young. These days, of course, if I'm going to be in a game store, I'm going to be there with David most of the time. Though one of the local game stores regular, one of the full-time staff members is female, so you don't get that as much in that store. Starting just very shadowy when we start out before we start bringing in all the highlights. Ah, too bad. Funny thing about that is usually all it takes is like one to really get the wave started. All you need is like one female game store employee who has fun in the hobby, and it powers a whole bunch of other women getting into the hobby. But you have to make it acceptable, an acceptable hobby for women. And with that kind of attitude around it, it's very difficult for women to actually want to do it, which is a shame. Oh yeah, I remember. Julie, I bet you have stories. Because, I mean, I came in, I just remember going to my first Gen Con in 1990. My first ever Gen Con, and it was like easily a 50-to-1 ratio. That's actually a great response, Shadow Raven. Poor Sada has terrible taste, so I can't send him here for my stuff. Oh no, Quindy, oh no. Yeah, Quindy, you need to write the story of you and miniature, or Julie, you need to write the story of you and Bob in miniatures, so we can have it for posterity. Doing a stripe down the horn, starting to get things in definition. Alright, I need a little bit more highlighting in here. Got kind of a black hole going on in that area. There we go. We are starting to really have a dragon head here, guys. Look at that. Oh no. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Because if it was 50-to-1 when I came in, and I, there were like 2 of us in our local gaming kind of group, I think. Then I can only imagine like what it would have been a few years earlier. 1990 was kind of a breakout year for women in the hobby because Vampire the Masquerade and Magic came out that year. And Vampire attracted a lot of women to the role-playing side of the hobby. I know. I saw a lot more women. And even at card games, like after Magic came out, then all those other card games started coming out because they wanted to jump on the bandwagon. And some of them were definitely like, I saw a lot of women into some of those games. So I feel like 1990 was kind of a tipping point. When we started to gain ground. And then for women in the miniature painting hobby, at least here in the States, I think in the 2000s was when, like, when Jennifer and me and Lillian and Liana and Marika and Jess and, you know, between the year 2000 and 2010, you saw some very public female painters who were doing great work and doing videos and stuff like that and classes, and so that made it acceptable, more acceptable for women to get into mini painting and got more women interested in mini painting. Oh yeah, it's okay to mention them. Sure, Bill. Yeah, I wasn't into that scene. David was, though. He likes some miniatures. All right, time to do our little blue stripey energy thingies like we did on that side, on these big scales on this side. Yeah, there's definitely, like, here and there are influences that kind of tip it and get more women into an aspect of our hobby. And you know it's unique to the USA. Because even in Canada, you don't, like, it's funny, you'd think that other areas of the world, considering how international everything is, right, you'd think that you'd see more women. But you really don't. Still very much a guy hobby in a lot of areas in Europe. Don't know about Australia. There have been a couple of good female painters from Australia. Yeah. To pass you is the worst. Yeah, exactly, Bill, right? Yeah, Jen was definitely one of the first household name painters. Household name in geek circles, anyway. I think while she was here for our wedding, I think I almost talked her into doing a Patreon. I keep trying. Although it's such a tax on her. Like, and Jen definitely has some health problems where her energy levels are not tops, and so she has to watch what she commits to. So I get it. I just wish she would do a Patreon so that all of her awesome Jen knowledge would get transferred onto the masses. Although she has enough videos, I suppose. Yeah, I ran into that in Golden Demons in 2001, 2002 when I was competing. I pretty much had to look at one of the Slayer Sword winners at the time who was expressing a fear of teaching because then people would steal his ideas and steal his stuff. And I was just like, ridiculous. I just debunked it. I was just like, I wasn't having any of it. I was like, no, how do you expect people to be excited about the hobby if you don't teach them? And he was like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. Even if you put the brush, even if you took, like, their hand and you put the, like, if you guided the brush with your hand, they would still not be able to execute on a thing exactly the way that you would. So it's like, gatekeeping is just so dumb. The best thing about gatekeeping is that it's usually easy to debunk, because once you point out the weaknesses of it, it's like, no, not really. So anybody who's not really bought into the idea, you can usually make them reconsider their idea. Yeah, it's like, dudes, seriously. Get more shinies on that side, so I need to do more shinies on this side. Yeah, I've never believed in gatekeeping. It's just like, people get excited when you hand them the keys. And that's how you keep the hobby alive. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that, Tristodoma. Sounds like a pretty terrible, crammed together day. I'm just trying to blend this in a little bit. My paint's thickening up a little bit. Since it's colder, my paint doesn't thicken up nearly as fast as it did while we were painting during the summer. When it would get warm in here. Yeah. Right, yeah. For sure missed him. I mean, that's kind of nice with Paint Club, too. You just show up when you feel like showing up. And I'm going to put a little white highlight just on the bottom edge of those horns. Oh, a little bit too low. Too low. Let's wick that off with some water. That's great, Twistedoma. That's good news. Have you had any success in finding some dietary tweaks to help you get your calories up? Of stuff you can eat and like? Perfect excuse not to go. That's funny, Graniko. Ah, oh no. Dragon fell out. Dragon fell down. Come here, dragon. Yes, have fun, Crowley. I'm a have fun kind of person today. I told David to have fun when he left for work and he gave me a weird look. Get a little bit along that lower lip. We're getting there. So we have the mouth to finish for next time. We're getting there. We're getting there. We almost have. I can do a little bit more on this side before we're done. Sorry, can't go having pictures of my insides done. Yep. Yeah, just a little bit more light on this side of the face. Nice thing about painting one side and then the other, you can look at it and see, okay, I need more light over here. It's just more highlights, more shadows. That's where when they chant, you know, higher highlights, deeper shadows. The magic in painting is in the highlights, in my opinion. Remember, the shadows like bring out the mass of a figure and kind of like the form and the weight of it, the shape of the areas, and then the highlights bring out the surface detail, right? So it tells you the qualities of an area and what type of area it is. Is it shiny? Is it dull? Is it furry? So in my opinion, like the highlights are really where the magic happens on a miniature. And if you're doing a shiny surface, like we decided we were doing on this dragon, you can take everything up to white and it always looks pretty awesome. Okay, I want a purple glaze up top like I did on the other side. And I need to bring up this ridge of scales a little higher. And this one. That's nice, Twisted Oma with the HEB stores. Just come with a list of foods you can't eat. Because I'm sure you have dietary restrictions. That's what makes it hard, right? Alrighty. I think we're about set. I'm gonna get another highlight here, another highlight here, and highlight down there. I still need a little bit more spot highlights over on these guys. And then I want to put a little bit more black up there. Yeah, side effects. I don't like painkillers in general. I understand. Needed to separate out those two scales. There. Here, shiny dragon. Shiny dragon. Still need a little bit more. The cheekbone here needs to be a lighter blue. There we go. It's a little better. Do blue on both sides. There we go. Getting there. Getting there, and we are almost to the end of the stream. And then a little bit over here. It's a little better. Yay, dragon. And then maybe a little bit of more highlight down the middle. Yay! Glad you like it, Julie. And it's a nice short project. So for those of you looking for a nice short project that's fun, I would say paint your Pokey tool. Yeah, there's still more touch-up I think I would do, and a bit more different colors here and there. And of course we've got to do the teeth. So I'll probably paint the underside of the head purple. Leave it over the black so it stays nice and dark. Okay, so the next time we encounter our dragon, we'll finish out the scales around the mouth on this side. We'll do the teeth, get those going on, and we'll do the horns. And then do any touch-ups we really need. So yeah, but then I'll need to seal this sucker, probably with a coat of gloss brush on and then a coat of satin brush on, see if that works. If not, if it's a little glossy, it'll be fine as long as it doesn't rub off all the time. I will be happy. Stretch. Time stretch. Chair stretch in this case. Still valid. Still valid. Glad you guys like it. Yeah, it would be a long paint on a big dragon, Nico. Though, if you started with black with a purple airbrush over it and just did the blues for the highlights, you might be able to get it down to a manageable time if it wasn't a super big dragon. Well, we wanted to do really shiny scales on this guy, so he's getting there. He's getting there. All right, yeah, thanks for showing up, everybody. Thanks for hanging out, as usual. Lovely day. Tomorrow is Friday. Friday is also Spooky Day. I bet you didn't know it was Spooky Day tomorrow. I think we are to the point where we can put some paint on this guy, on our basing. Let's paint it and see if it all works together. Let's paint our basing, and we'll probably paint our little skeletal kitty. So come back tomorrow for the Necromeouncer and friends. All right. Yep, and today, Josh, Crafty Creative at 2 p.m. USA Central Time. Thank you all for coming, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.